Alright, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Deajane, Day, Nana. I go by many names. You may pick one. We have a very, very special video for today. I will not be picking cards. I have a channeled message. Sorry about the car, if you hear it. I have a very special channeled message today. I've been sitting on this download and when waiting on the best time to post it because it's a doozy. It's really out there. It's very esoteric. It's a very wild and probably triggering video, but it does need to be made. I figured because of this time that we're going through with the Easter celebrations for the pagans, that this would be the best time to drop this doozy. And so I sat on it. I wrote a bit, but we're just going to be going off of, I'm not going to be doing cards. I'm going to just be free-flowing it today based on these divine messages and based off of what other downloads I get while I'm reading these notes for you guys. Okay, so here we go. Jesus being the Antichrist is today's topic, and this comes from South Park. This comes from, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but, you know, a lot of people be talking about The Simpsons out here about messages and them putting things in there. But guys, South Park, Matt Parker, Trey Stone, shit, I'm fucking up their names, but they have a lot of truth that they put in their stuff, and there's specifically an episode where they're talking about Jesus, the Jesus character, being the Antichrist that got banned. And I wonder why that would get banned, you know, unless there's some truth in there. But this is what correlates with that is my confirmation for this message. And I had the message, I heard it, and then I correlated that with that South Park being like, oh my God, wow, that's really, like, because I've seen it before. Like, I've seen that, seen South Park before and stuff like that. And I didn't really watch a lot of the older ones, but I remember watching them talking about it getting banned or something like that, them not being able to post a certain episode, a religious episode, those religious people. And so I started digging deeper, and here we go. So when we're talking about words and when we are talking about language, okay, we need to talk about its power and we need to talk about manipulation. So Jesus, Jesus, and then when we go further back, his name is not Jesus, for a thing. It's not Jesus, it's Yeshua. Yeshua Mashiach. Yeshua, okay? If we were to go back in time, guys, and everybody was out there and everything back in the day, they would not be speaking English. He wouldn't go up to Jesus and be like, hey Jesus. He would look at you confused as fuck because his name is Yeshua. And when I did some research looking into Yeshua, the closer translation to Yeshua would be a Joshua, to English would be a Joshua, not a Jesus. So already they fucked up with the language. If it's a true translation, it would not be Jesus, it would be more Joshua. So back then, if we're thinking about, so when we're going to that, his name would be Yeshua, not Jesus. So why would they change his name then? Why are we not calling him Yeshua? Why would they change his name to Jesus? Who is Jesus? Okay. So when we're breaking down language and English, back then you would have spoken Sanskrit, Greek, Aramaic, Latin, Hebrew, okay? There was no English. These Greek, Latin, Hebrew, Aramaic, Sanskrit, a lot of old world languages, but also confirmation, cool. A lot of old world languages have also spiritual connections to your body and the frequencies. Yeshua, the breath, the sound, to deliver, to rescue. Each, when you are meditating, if you look into the, different prayers in different languages, Latin, Hebrew, Aramaic, these each chakra, and we look also into, if you were to look into the Torah, or look into certain words that have these vibrational frequencies, there's also vibrational frequencies in words when it comes to your chakras. Each chakra has, if you are meditating, I can't remember, but there are certain words and sounds you can make to help you connect to those certain chakras, if you did not know that. That is the same thing with music, same thing with with Yeshua. Well, it is the same thing, because when we go into English and why English was invented, it is all about control. English is a backwards version. It's Babel. It's the backwards version of our original languages: Latin, Hebrew, Greek. That is Greek. That is why these are in our root words, because these are what make up English. English is specifically made to keep us in a lower state of vibration. We did not speak English back then. A lot of us also were telepathic, so we didn't even speak at all. All right. This is also another download I'm getting too, that the telepathy, these people trying to do the Neuralink, that are trying to tell people that it's giving you telepathic capabilities. You do not do this, because we inherently naturally have telepathic abilities. You just need to have a higher frequency and vibrational registry to be able to use your telepathic capabilities. I have telepathic capabilities. I am able to read minds energetically. Okay, that is one of these powers. Okay, so this Neuralink, that's immediately already a scam. Already it's trying to monitor your brain. They already got microchips in people's brains without consent, and have been testing on people. So don't think for a hot minute that Elon here is doing anything brand new. Okay, Elon is literally just Nikola Tesla 2.0. Tesla stole a bunch of shit. Nikola, like, he's literally the same fucking person, dead ass. So newsflash, who do you think they just unfroze? Literally Nikola. Hello, back doing it again, stealing people again, stealing ideas fucking again. Anywho, so back to the message. English was designed by the Romans to keep us in a lower state of vibration. They were working on this back with the Greeks as well. Okay, so moving us out of our original languages, these original tones, these original frequencies, Yeshua, this stuff like that, is all about control. English and English also ties back to the Britons, the Puritans, the Salem witch trials, and the attack, spirituality. Okay, the Salem witch trials and the attack. Yes. And okay, so this was all a part of trying to tip the scales and tip the balance into a more favorable, into the more favorable side of the dark instead of the light. Okay, so the Greeks and the Romans were working on English and working on trying to cultivate that and everything, thus forming the Britain, thus forming that sector. Okay, so the time, and I'll go further into a timeline that I came up with from the channel messages from the divine for the timeline that I wrote down, that he guided me to write down about this, about because this is the thing too. If we're going to be talking about language, we also have to talk about time. We have to talk about the calendars and how they messed up the calendars. And when we think about the Roman calendars and stuff like that, a lot of this shifts when they talk about the Roman calendars and these things that came up. When you think about the time you're living in now, these are the inventions and brainwashing tools. Excuse me, please clear my throat chakra. and brainwashing tools made up by our captors, okay, made up by the people enslaving us. So naturally, they're wrong. When we talk, okay, and the Mayan calendar is, I'm being told, is the original calendar. Okay, so that is the original calendar, and they can't read it because they don't know the language. That's funny as fuck. But that's why it became like a doom thing, and everybody thought it was the end of the world. No, it's really, and the Mayan calendars come from the Bronze Age, which is the time of the true time of the Anunnaki, the true times of the Egyptians, okay? The true times of power, okay? Before the serpents, okay? So, it is pagan name Jesus, given in the 5th century at the Council of Nicaea, Romans, and the connection to the Jews. Okay, so as I was saying, pretty much, I mean, yeah, it was all Yeshua. When we think about timelines, Yeshua and Jesus was constructed by the pagans as a form of control, to control the narrative, to control their power, because the scales were tipping from the Mayan prophecy. So when the Mayan prophecy came to fruition, okay, this is where they had to come up with Jesus, because they didn't think that Yeshua would really be present. Like, they don't believe in God. They're Satanists, they're devil worshippers. They worship the serpent, the bull. Okay, when we think about Moses, the bull, he tried to save them and everything, and they still went back to worshiping the fucking bull. And I'll go into that as well on the timeline when we get there. But and Jews come from trolls. Literally they have troll DNA. They're from they go way back. Okay, guys, they go way back. Gargamel Smurfs, bro. Gargamel Smurfs. They were really trolls, okay? They got that troll greedy. That's why they're greedy. They have that DNA, okay? It's in their blood. They have reptile. They got snake. They got that, the breeding from the trolls and the, draconians. And the draconians and the grays. That's the grays, okay? That's them, all right? And so, yes, they have been at this and trying to stop that. So they've been trying to stop Yeshua, and that's why they controlled the narrative to Jesus, and changed his name to control the language. That's why they started implementing new languages. But that's also why that's why also they started doing the experiments on the different races and started getting prepared to divide everybody up. Okay. So here we go. I'm gonna show you guys what we have here for this timeline. Okay, so you guys can see I'm actually reading off of something. So, starting off. Okay, I'll put a picture of it on the side here, on the side over here, so you guys can see it. So starting off, we have elves, giants, fairies, mystical mermaids, Garden of Eden, Moses, Nephilim, angels, and Moses is and Joseph are the same person, okay? So that's one of the things the Romans went in and tried to fuck up with rewriting stuff and everything, because a lot of it is babble, a lot of it is storytelling. I'm getting, the first half is Revelations is accurate, and the first half, if you guys read the Bible, you know what I mean when I say, I guess, the first half. I guess you guys will know what I mean when the first half is credible, the second half is shit, apparently. So they tried, my family tried to brainwash me into all that mumbo jumbo. I did try to keep up, but I swear it's hoopla. But there is stuff in there. It will lead you to the divine. It's another portal. Okay, we're just gonna say that whatever energy you hold within your heart and within your soul will be shown to you in the book. Okay, it's all about that. And if that is your path towards the divine, that is your path. But my path, I couldn't get into the Bible, but I got into my path with the divine in my other ways, through cars or so, whatever be it. But this also channels in with, guys, the books being burned. All the books and all the information is not accurate, okay? It has been who tells the stories? Who writes the stories? The victors, okay? If you are in the lower percentile, like me, I guess, or they see you in the, not in the 1% or whatever the hell, okay? That means that we lost. We lost in the past, but it's just so we can win in the future, okay? So put that down on a pillow, all right? So, elves, fairies, giants, all of that, mystical. Moses. This is the time when Moses was born, Joseph was born. Moses, okay? He birthed Yeshua, not birthed. He is the father, Moses is the father of Yeshua, okay? Yeshua and, Moses and Mary, okay? Moses and Mary, but it wasn't Mary. Mary was a, Mary was a seer. Mary was a starseed. Mary was the star of Bethlehem. Mary was, when the wise men, and they talk about the go to the thingy and go to the star, that's Mary, okay? Mary was, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow with silver bells and cockle shells, okay? She was a seer. She was powerful, okay? Mermaid. She was mermaid, okay? Mary the mermaid, okay? African American. She was alien, okay? She was, she's not African American, not African, but she was alien, okay? The flood, okay? God's flood. There was a flood, okay? There was a real flood. There was the first flood. God only destroyed the earth once, okay? But that was not during Moses' time. God had a flood, but God had a flood before, because, okay, when we think about cycles, when we think about how many times this has happened for the great resets, okay, there was a flood, but there was a flood, but this was when the angels came down, and the Nephilim came down, started messing with everything, trying to mate with everything. The hybrids came out. That's how we got the magical world, the elves and stuff like that. Like, there were still creatures that survived. Some got deleted, and stuff like that. But yes, there was the first God's flood, and after God's flood, there was this is where human creation. I wrote down human creation. Serpent is of man, is of sin. It's about getting back to our original magical state of being. Yeshua is the blueprint and proof of divine. They tried to study him. Okay, guys. So, this is where we get into, after the flood, and man, okay? Man is born, okay? When they talk about in the Bible, Adam and Eve, Moses, Moses and Mary, okay? Moses and Mary, they were not human, okay? They were aliens, okay? Aliens are separate. They're the extraterrestrial beings, I guess. I'm gonna say it like that, I guess. The extraterrestrials, they are different than the human creation, okay, I guess. And this is where it comes into the souls starting, the games happening on Earth, okay? This is where it comes into the games, the first games, okay? So in the first games after the flood, we spawned in, okay, after the flood and shit like that, and then we get into our human vessels, okay? And the human vessels, you are of Earth, okay? You have to be of Earth, because how else would you be in the 3D body, okay? So it is inherent for man to sin. Man, our original state is magical. Our original state is mystical, okay? There was only a division of not having powers, not having the different tones, okay? When I say human was created, here we go, when Moses and Mary, okay, and stuff like that, and the aliens, we were all one color, we were all one race, we were all one. South Park, when they talk about going to the future and everybody was one race and stuff like that, I'm getting told that was not the future, that was the past, okay? This is how they talk, okay? Whenever they're showing us stuff like the Jetsons, whenever they're showing us things like the flying cars, the future, like, whoa, this is so cool, Autotopia, Wakanda, oh my gosh, like, cool flying cars, wow, Star Trek, that stuff, that is the past. This is the past. That was the past. That's what the past looked like, okay? The devil has no original ideas. The serpent cannot create. This is why it has not happened. It keeps people in a stagnant state of thinking towards something that is we need to regain, because they have experimented and they have stripped us down and did the different shade coloring and shit like that, like a box of crayons, guys, because we're all the same. We're all made of wax. At the end of the day, inside we all bleed, most of us. We all die, okay? We all have that in common. We are all human flesh. We are flesh, okay? So when we talk about the original state and like Jesus and stuff like that, it's not that they are sorry, my mind's blanking. Okay, I guess I'm done with that. Okay, so then we go into the Anunnaki and the Egyptian bronze rule, okay? We were told as the Anunnaki, because I'm Nana, Nana's here, okay? Nana's here. I was told, okay, so we of the Anunnaki, we were told that we had to mate with the humans, okay? So we had to mate with the humans to be able to help the bloodline, okay? This is where it comes into the mixed races, okay? Anunnaki being giants, all right? Anunnaki being big, okay? That is mythical, that is magical, okay? That is real, that was a real thing. So, this is when the Great Divide happened, okay? There were some that did not want to mate with the humans, thought it was dirty, thought it was gross, thought that it was disgusting. And then there were the other half, like me, where I was like, we need to fucking do this because I'm an oracle and this is what was been seen and this is what we've been told. And Pharaoh, my brother, was trying to kill all of the boys because of the oracle, because of the Mayan calendar, because of the prophecy on the pyramids. All right, that shit was cut out before they did the mud floods. All right, so that they cut the Mayan calendar out of the pyramids and saved it. Even the pyramids. Okay, guys, also these poles, and this is the funny shit. So the pyramids, a lot of that stuff has been moved too. Like, so it's a giant tower. Like I'll draw this. So I've seen these before, like that. So this is the pyramid. Okay, because of the mud floods and everything, they buried it. This, and when they talk about the iceberg and shit like that, these were giant towers, and then the flying cars. Imagine all the flying cars and shit like that. It was hella cool. Shit was really cool. The whatchamacallit, yeah, I'm being told not to talk more in depth about that because it's secret shit, but they just looked really cool. And then there was like, but so they pretty much, to move everything and move the pyramids around and give the illusion, some of them, okay, not all of them, some of them are buried, but some of them, what they just did was slice off the top and just transport. Some of them, they just moved it and then transported the top halves. Okay, they transported the top halves around to fuck up people's like sense of direction and shit like that. So the ones in Egypt are not Egyptian. Egyptian is Tartaria. Okay, we're over on this side. Okay, on the Grand Canyon. Okay, the pyramids were from the Grand Canyon. Which is Tartaria, and frick yeah, that goes back to Christopher Columbus and stuff like that, but we're not there yet. Anywho, going back, Anunnaki, boom, boom, pow, 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 Moses. So, yes, Moses was alive. Joseph was alive during the Anunnaki and stuff like that. He was Anunnaki. Okay, Moses was Anunnaki because Moses was part of Nephilim. Okay, so he was a hybrid. Okay, so Jesus was a double hybrid. So Mary was a hybrid. Moses was Anunnaki, Nephilim. Mary was mermaid. Mermaid Fae. Okay. Nephilim, Anunnaki, she was Mermaid Fae. Cool beans. So Moses, boom, bow, pow, he's born and shit like that. And that's why Pharaoh went off, and that's where I was going to. So they were trying to go after Moses, okay? That's why Pharaoh started going out, right, and started trying to murk people, bro. Because it's not, okay, because Moses is Joseph, okay? Moses is supposed to have, is supposed to give the sperm for Yeshua, okay? So you're trying to murk him because of the oracles telling about the prophecies, okay? So like that. Okay. And I hear Moses, the first crusade, and that's the first crusade, okay? Pharaoh going off on the first crusade. He also when they talk about also the apple, Adam and Eve, and when they talk about like the knowledge and stuff like that, it's about the Satanism, it's about the sacrificing. When they talk about the Cain and Abel, when they talk about that, it's the knowledge of sacrifices, it's the knowledge of the snake, okay, of the devil, of the Satanism, okay, alrighty. And when they talk about parting the Red Sea, they took a small chunk of people to Babel, okay, Babel, which became Greece, okay, think about that, and that was a higher populated, they took a higher density population of men, and so, okay, I'm getting told when they say men, women, and children, when there's a Titanic and they're talking about men, they separate the men, and then they say the women and children and stuff like that, and that whole crazy thing. Okay, that's for a reason, because back then, when they did that, they parted the Red Sea, and when that happened, it becomes men, women, and children. Women and children, and some of the mythical creatures that were still alive. That so like the water islands and stuff like that, and the men went to land, the Greece and stuff like that. I'm getting told a lot of the men stayed with, actually stayed with, what the fuck do you call that? A lot of men stayed with Pharaoh. And that's why a lot of women and children ended up going with Moses, because of the prophecy of not them being, because of them not getting tricked. That's also why when they wrote the Bible and stuff like that, and they write these things and they try to demonize women, because it is an attack on women, on femininity, the divine union, man and women, because the devil is, here we go guys, I've yet to tell you guys this, the devil is a woman. Whoa, oh my gosh, yeah, man was tricked by a woman, which is the devil. It's not even a devil, it's not even a woman, like, it's Pan, okay? Pan is the devil, okay? Pan is a shapeshifter. Pan, I can't even say Pan is Pan is a hermaphrodite, okay? Pretty much is half woman, half man. And the devil pretty much was like, I have better odds of becoming, sticking more to my masculine side than my feminine side, because already knowing that men don't inherently want to listen to women, so might as well my angle to, because the devil is jealous of the portal of the woman's ability to bring forth creativity, to bring forth ideas, to manifest, with the men need the help of women, just like women need the help of men to pull forth a new big bang into, creation. All right, that's what the Big Bang is. It's literally sex. It's literally that bang, 333 bang within your fucking bodies. All right, that Big Bang. All right, that creates a literal portal, a baby. Okay, so it's the attack on babies. It's the attack on all that shit. And Satan's just freaking jelly. Yeah. Anyways, so. Moses. So that is where Moses met Mary in Atlantis, and that is where the first in vitro fetal no. That is where in vitro fertilization was created, but Yeshua was Yeshua was a miracle, was actually a miracle though, because Mary had not gone through the full transitions towards so in order for a mermaid to become human, she has to give birth. That's crazy. Okay, that's cool to know. So in order for her to grow legs, she has to give birth and have a baby. So that's how that happened. But yes, because that was the first hybrid. Okay, because that was the first hybrid. Because when we talk about white and black, when we talk about these races and stuff like that, when I was talking about the Anunnaki and what we had to do was mate with humans, that was part of it. That was the first half human. Okay, that's human. That was human. So that was the first like human, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. This shit is really esoteric. It's really out there. But what you can consider like a divine being, like let's say me or whatever, pop me, okay? Boom. That was the first human. Back there was no levitation. There were no powers. There was yes, there was like Anunnaki powers and stuff like that and things, but there was no two-leg powered, being, okay? This is where the jealousy comes in, because Atlantis coexisted for 1,200 years with the Greeks, okay? With the Greek, all right? And this isn't just Greek. This is like... yeah, it's like the Greek. And when they talk about Egyptians too, like Egyptians is like very new or like thinking. Like back then it wasn't Greek, okay? Back then it wasn't Egyptian. It was like the Anunnaki Bronze Golden Age, okay? So it was ruled by Anunnaki. Then the divide happened, okay? When the divide happens, they start killing the babies because of the prophecy, all right? When the prophecy comes, that's when they had to flee, went to Atlantis, okay? Then the Greeks started messing with getting deeper into their hoopla, okay? And that's also, they were getting into that hoopla too. This is also where the divide, when the Anunnaki, we talk about that stuff too, they were starting to get into that hoopla when Moses was like, let my people go. That's when the enslavements, that's when that shit started happening. Like, imagine, so the download, thank you Spirit for that, thank you Spirit, that I was talking about. Think about what's going on right now, and then put that in the Prince of Egypt, okay? You seen the Prince of Egypt movie? So imagine the shit that's happening politically, kind of, like, right now, like, a little bit. That turbulence and shit, just put that in, like, the Prince of Egypt setting a bit, okay? But when they're like, let my people go, when he's like, let my people go, it was, like, Pharaoh versus Moses, but Moses was also, Moses was also, like, whatchamacallit. There was also, like, other, like, there's other pharaohs. Like, they tried to make it seem like it was Pharaoh was the big bag. No, it was, like, you see how, like, the politics are, like, divided now? It was, like, the politics were divided then, So there's some that was like, oh, we don't really want to this is also the beginning of the slavery shit too. Like, this is also the beginning of like the covens, the beginning of the Masons, the beginning of all this hoopla, and stuff like that, because they were given, you know, the apple, pretty much. The apple is the knowledge of good and evil. Okay, so they got the knowledge of evil through the serpent, through the devil. Okay, I don't even know what that is. But yeah, so they were doing all that hoopla. And then when they started doing the enslavement and stuff like that, because enslaving was not a thing, you know, we were living life, you know, but they started doing the enslavement. They started doing that was like their first, the enslavement was their first like concentration camp. All right, so that's when they started trying to do the first replacements, okay? The first replacements, the first shading, okay? The shading. That's when the shading came in. That's when the white man, you know, the pigments and shit, they started fucking with the pigments. They started, no, that's not the white, but they started fucking with the pigments, and that's where Egyptian. They started fucking with the pigments, and that's where you get the Egyptian, okay? Because they tried to start using, not Egyptian. They started fucking with it, and that's where you get the Jew. There we go. And that's how you get the slave. That they started making the pyramids and stuff, because we weren't using those. We weren't using human labor before, okay? That's how they started doing that. That's, okay, so that's the connection to Jewish people are the first. That's why they control everything, because they were the first to be, they've been here for the longest time as clones, I guess. Have been here the longest time as the race that has been changed. That's also why their mentality is very, that's why their mentality is just very, like low vibrational, very, like, if you think about, like, on an energetic level, on, like, a spiritual level, their ranking is very low, because they're very low on the totem pole, especially with their genomes splicing. The reptilian, what do you even call that? Ogres and the trolls. Like, these are, when you think about Lord of the Rings, these are slave races, okay? They're not really, they're just very drone minded, okay? A lot of them have that reptile brain. A lot of them have a very, like, I'm just meant to work and shit like that, you know? That's what a lot of them were used for back in the day, sadly, okay? A lot of mistreatment. Ella Enchanted, okay? That's a real shit, okay? So, when we go into that, so when Atlantis starts popping, it has all cool, because Atlantis stayed, Atlantis download too, Atlantis was still in modern Egyptian Bronze Age, where Yeshua come from. So they kept the traditions. They were like, okay, well, when they did the divide, they said, okay, we're gonna go and stick to the normal tradition. And then what they showed in the Prince of Egypt was, we're gonna go worship the bull and shit like that, okay? And when they remember, they said, we freed you, and you're gonna go back to doing what we just freed you from. He didn't stay there. You guys see the fucking Ten Commandments? Every time I saw that as a kid, I was like, why did he stay with them if they just... No, he didn't stay with them, bro. He dipped, because there were people that were like, why are you guys still doing this? So those people are also the men, women, and children stuff. Those are the same people that dipped as well, that were just like, no, we're gonna dip like a fucking potato chip. You guys still want to worship the old ways. We came here to change and everything, and you guys are still gonna be doing this shit the same way. And that's also how the Greeks were able to team up and come after Atlantis, because they ended up communicating and building an alliance with the older Anunnaki that stayed in what was Egypt, okay? Keeping up? They took out Atlantis by doing dark magic rituals, dolphin, SpongeBob episode, volcano episode, okay? Mount Vesuvius and Pompeii, that was able to not only cause tsunamis to destroy Atlantis, but also the death toll and damage was so severe that it shattered the Earth's core, pretty much broke the Earth's heart, the core grid, causing the Pangea mass, because we were all together. This is also when I'm talking about all this shit before. This is with Pangea time. So when they talk about Pangea in school, it's all together. Confirmation. So this is Pangea. Oh, so Pangea times. Okay. Causing Pangea and the mass to start drifting. Okay, the Pangea mass to start drifting because they did that. When refugees from Atlantis, Jesus, Yeshua on board, got to the Greek civilizations, they had copied the old ways. Okay, not copy the old ways. They did copy. So they had a spy. There was a spy, a Greek spy, Judas. A Judas. Judas has been around for a long ass fucking time, guys. Okay, fucking Judas. Who is Judas, you guys ask? Plato, that son of a fucking bitch, is Judas. Okay, so Judas, aka Plato, these mother effers that try to take claim for all this shit, Socrates, the Platos, the Socrates, a lot of this shit they got from, drum roll, at fucking Atlantis. They got a lot of this shit stolen from Atlantis, but they did not know how to fucking understand this shit, because we encrypt our shit. Shit was encrypted. They didn't understand it with their small ass brains. So what did they end up doing? A bunch of stupid ass shit. So we get the dumb shit. What we have over here is literally the copied, like, cheat sheet stuff, because what they were doing the whole time was, when the Masons got here and shit like that, and the the devils and the snakes and shit like that, and fucking, what do you call that, Avatar came down here and we're like, oh well, we want what they have, we want to, but we don't want to learn their ways, so why don't we just capture them, enslave them, and just, study them and see what they do, and then we can just take that idea, because like I said, they've been testing forever. We can just take some of that shit, have it over here, and then when we don't need them anymore, have them over here and then capture them and shit like that. So what they did was, when they did do the divide, and they did get a spy in there, they were watching, they were doing their stuff and everything, copied poorly, came up with their Greek mythologies and shit like that, because, mind you, also Yeshua is in Atlantis, so a lot of these Greeks that they talk, Yeshua is Chronos. Okay, Yeshua is Chronos. Zeus is Jesus. Okay, but the thing is, when the Greeks destroyed Atlantis, okay, they tried to make it seem like they're the good guys, because remember, who makes the stories? The bad people that won the fucking wars. Okay, so they changed it to make it seem like Kronos was such a bad guy, that Yeshua was such a bad. Well, they erased Yeshua, because when they talk in the Bible and shit like that, Jesus was made by in vitro fertilization that they stole from Atlantis. But what they fucked up is, that's how they accidentally made the Antichrist. Okay, because they made Jesus in order to, the birth of Jesus and the birth of all that shit, because it was so satanic and so dark, that is the triggering catalyst. Okay, because that shit's forbidden as fuck. Okay, that was the catalyst to the anger and shit like that, was the catalyst for the volcano. Okay, but they didn't. But obviously, what's his name? What the fuck is his name? Obviously, Yeshua didn't know that they had they were making up religions and stuff like that about him and you know, this whole religion, the Greek stuff. So this is where we get into, okay, they also tried to kill Yeshua multiple times as well. Multiple assassination attempts and things like that. So this is when the flood happened, okay? The mermaids and stuff like that, they come over, the refugees come over to Greece, okay? They come over to the land of Babel. When they talk about the Bible and stuff like that, them going to the Babel and stuff like that, they went to Babel because of the flood, all right? That man did. But when they got there, this is where Yeshua becomes the prophet, okay? Because when they got there, the Greeks, this is when the Greeks had their vendetta. This is where the fucking peace out, they ended the peace and shit like that. The Greeks, this was part of their plan, trying to implement their brainwashing tool with their fake religion with the fake religion and shit like that, with the Zeus and the Jesus and stuff like that. First they tried to say that it would blame the flood on God, on the divine, and then try to get people on their Greek crusade and try to brainwash the people into worshiping their Greek gods and goddesses, okay? And they knew, though, that this shit was just what's it called? A blatant copy of the whatchamacallit, the other times of the Bronze Age. We'll say the Bronze Age, okay? Of the Bronze Age, when the Anunnaki and stuff like that. So they knew that was a blatant copy. So this was what happened, was either you come here for sanctuary and everything, and you submit and you subscribe to our God and everything, our gods or whatever, and our way, and you stay silent, or we kill you. And then Yeshua, this is the thing, they didn't know he was a prophet. They knew he was powerful. They knew he had his mother was a half mermaid, you know. And because also too, during this time, during this Greek time, during all these and everything, they were trying to kill, they were killing mythical creatures during this time, during the slaughter, like during Lord of the Rings, during the slaughter, during all that time and everything. Things were chilling in Atlantis, but during the Lord of the Rings times and everything, that was all because they were trying to gather DNA. They were trying to experiment because they were trying to compete with Atlantis, and they were trying to, because, you know, Atlantis was popping. Yeshua was over there, was, you know, they had that, there were still some surviving. A lot of the mythical creatures from the floods that survived from God's flood were there, the aquatic ones. So you know, it was really powerful over there. And so they started attacking the land. And when they attacked the lands, for the experimentation, you know, that's when they started making more of the Jews and more of the armies and stuff like that. And then that's when they brought over, and this is Christopher Columbus, okay? So when they talk about Yeshua and sailing the ocean blue and this stuff like that, okay, that's the refugees coming over, okay? And during this time too, when we talk about what they were doing on land and stuff like that too, this is when they started Roanoke. This is when they started, not Roanoke, I guess, okay, that's Roanoke. That's when they started the cannibalism shit. That's when they started, like, crazy ass shit. Like, they started, like, pillaging, and Tartaria. Yeah. Tartaria. And then Then Yeshua comes in with the gang. Yeshua comes in with the gang, the crew. And then yeah, so they were trying to blame it. Yeah, they didn't know that Yeshua was a prophet until they started lying and stuff like that. And then Yeshua was like, no, like, my God, my Father, my divine, my divine and stuff like that. He, started preaching, because that was the issue. That's the core that they forget. Although there are many gods, there are many helpers, there is still one God at the end of the day that is in control of all of these gods. The misconception of the telephone with this is when it comes down to the spy, and what they didn't take into account is that you're not praying to the Greek gods and goddesses. They're like, yes, they can do shit, or they're, but they are not the God. They're not the same. They're on a lower tier, a lower bracket. Yes, they have power, but at the end of the day, they still have to answer to the Most High. So that's where they messed up. When you think of, like, by the power of Ra, when you think about that shit by when you go back to the Prince of Egypt, okay, look back at that scene where they're trying to do the magician show off, okay? That's the difference. He's talking to the divine. These people think that their power only comes from, and it's 3D, and they think it's this materialistic shit. No, it's esoteric, okay? That was the difference between Atlantis, and that was also the jealousy, okay? Because they, Greek and stuff like that, they were stuck in the old ways. They were stuck in the 3D. Atlantis went into higher ascension. This is what this battle too has been, that's the good and evil, okay? That's that paradox of the game this year, all right? Not this year, but the games, okay? Of this generation, okay? The battle, the paradoxical balance between good and evil. The what we're learning right now is polarity, okay? Because we all used to know these lessons before, okay? But because of how much time has gone by and how much shit has gone warped, we have to remember again, okay? We have to start back again on baby food. So we're learning polarity, okay? Right now. To get back to our higher vibrational states of thinking, okay? All right, and then, so, all right, I'm being told to stop right there, because that pretty much is, there's more to the timeline, but that's pretty much all I had to say, I guess, when it came to Yeshua, when it came to Jesus, when it comes to the difference between why, and then, yeah, hopefully that explained the difference between Jesus to you guys and Yeshua, and brought some enlightenment, raised some questions for you. It's all about language at the end of the day, okay? You may think that you are praying to Jesus, you may think you are praying to God, okay? But you're not, okay? It's all, when it comes, okay, here we go. When it comes down to the attack on spirituality, when it comes to the attack on God, when it comes to the attack on magic, okay? Manifestation. The way the enemy came at us was to attack our connection to the divine, okay? So what better way to attack the connection to the divine than put a roadblock? So when you're praying, yes, Yeshua is our brother. Yes, Yeshua is, Yeshua is some of our brothers, because some of us don't have his bloodline in us, okay? That's another light. Not all of us have Yeshua's blood in us, okay? Because of the genetic splicing, because of the experimentation, all right? So Yeshua, but that does not mean you can't talk to him. That does not mean you cannot have a conversation with him, okay? But when they have Jesus, this made up character, this in virtual fertilization abomination, okay, who is going to assume the identity of the true and one and only Yeshua, okay, that is how they sever that tie to the connection, because then they start with the lies, they start with, they're able to weaken you, and that's how they were able to use that's how they were able to use Jesus to start over, to have these great resets over and over and over and over again, because Jesus is how they're able to get people brainwashed and self-reliant on the savior complex. If you don't know what the savior complex is, look it up. That's how you get people stagnant in the savior complex, not willing to save themselves, not willing to look for the information themselves, and just stay in a regurgitative state. All right? And sever their connection. When they're in that regurgitative state, they're not going to be seeking for answers from the divine. They're not going to be seeking within. They're going to be seeking towards a tool, a satanic tool for their answers, which is already trying to funnel in their power. So even if you're trying to do something with pure intentions, it's already blocked off if you're praying to Jesus. It's already blocked off if you're asking Jesus for everything, because Jesus, Yeshua, at the end of the just saying Jesus anyways blocks you in a lower state of vibration. I recommend, honestly, everybody say Yeshua. Like, that's dead ass his name. If you want to feel a better connection, stop calling him Jesus, and one, call him Yeshua. And two, if there's something you need, always ask the divine. Always put your intention and have your conversation with the divine, okay? Not Jesus, not Jesus, okay? Because, all right, it's like the principal is in charge, okay, of the whole school, but you're going to your kid's kindergarten teacher or whatever, for something that's going on with the school that your kindergarten teacher has no control over. You need to go talk to the principal. There's so many people that need to go fucking talk to the principal, but are stuck at their parent teacher conference just complaining in tears, okay? You need to go talk to the fucking principal, okay? The principal being the divine, the principal being God, because he is the only one at the end of the day, the one who can change it for you. He's the one that changed it for me, that helped me, that enlightened me. Yes, Yeshua is what brought me my powers, is what brought me to enlightenment, what allowed us to have the Christ consciousness, what allows us to have this awakening. Because why? He was the first. He was the blueprint. Yeshua was the blueprint for us. And when they talk about he died for our sins, and they talk about things like that, one, Jesus was a sacrifice, okay? So when they talk about that stuff, and then when they talk about the resurrection was freaking the resurrection was the real Yeshua. There was two of them, because there was a fucking clone. So there was the sacrifice. Jesus was the sacrifice that they put on the X, and it wasn't a cross, it was an X. All right, the cross and the stuff that they put in to celebrate here now, and that is death to the masculines. That was the war. So the attack on Yeshua was an attack on the attack on the divine masculine, okay? And he did fly up, bro. He did, because Yeshua, and this is why they don't like talking about it. This is why they don't like talking about Yeshua's resurrection, and why they skip over it, because they just skipped over that shit when I was asking all these questions when I was a child in Catholic school and shit like that. Because, bro, he floated. They don't like, the Romans are so fucking salty, and they get so pissed because Yeshua dead ass went deuces, bros. He floated his booty up and was like, peace, I'm going into the heavens with my divine father and everything, and my job here is done, and my enlightenment here is done, because I've saved people and I've awoken people to the truth. The whole thing was for him to get his disciples and awaken people to start on their path and everything in the first generations in Babel. And he did that. And the whole died for your sin shit, that's Jesus, bro. Jesus is not Yeshua. Jesus was a fucking fertilized clone, bro, that was made in a fucking test tube. He was a test tube baby, bro. Yeshua was organic. That's the difference. Yeshua was organic. Jesus was artificial, which is what they're pushing still to this day. They knew it was a process, but Yeshua was the first seed for this garden to flourish in Babel. So Yeshua was the first plant. He was the first psyop for the rest of us to psyop, with our powers. He gave us the codes, the first codes, okay? And so, like I said, direct towards to the divine or to God. Don't get stuck in the Jesus trap, okay? That is the Antichrist. That makes people stuck in the savior complex, okay? That's, like I said, when I talk about the Great Reset, that's how the government was able to they had the giant, the government for their Great Reset. Here I go to bust this shit for them. Since they, how they've been getting away with shit is literally with the savior complex, is brainwashing the masses into a savior complex. The government fakes an alien invasion or fakes a natural disaster. They have a holographic Antichrist Jesus that they resurrect, which is the fake Jesus, but is really an Antichrist, to trick the masses into starting all over again and trick us and try to tip the scale. And people we fell for that shit, guys. We fell for that shit a lot. Yeah, we fell for that shit. They were doing that shit quite a bit. Yeah. But not anymore though. So that's good, They're trying this last time was the last time. Yeah, that shit was crazy, bro. But yeah, like, yeah, that shit's wild. Yeah, that last one was the last one though. Like, the amount of times these MFers have been trying to do this. They had a flood every transition, bro. I'm not even joking. From Roman, from Greek to Roman to Egypt. Because when they made an Egypt, but Egypt was a sad caricature of what the greats used to be in the Bronze Age, okay, if that makes sense. So the Bronze Age and stuff like that, that's what Egypt is a copy off of. And then Egypt is also so, like, just think Anunnaki, and then Egypt is the copy, the satanic copy. Then it goes Greek, Roman, all right? And that's how it was until the peace was broken. Once the peace was broken, that's when they started the first flood. Yeah, and then I'll get more into that next video on the Crusades. We'll talk more about the Crusades and the Dark Ages, and we'll catch up more on the timeline. But this was more about, like, the past and kind of the formation of language, Yeshua, Jesus, and old world stuff. So hopefully, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.